Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and once again I'm coming to you with the Texas Gun Vault Poll Question of the Week, a weekly vlog that I put out where I ask you, as my viewers and subscribers, about something that deals with guns, gun culture, politics, current events, the news, or something fun like EDC that I want to get your thoughts and opinions on. And this week's question really deals with how do we win the battle for the Second Amendment? How do we change culture, change the hearts and minds of those people that are in the middle? Because we can't do this alone as just the passionate gun community, because we're up against some formidable adversaries, people in the anti-gun media, the anti-gun politicians, and the people that are passionate about being anti-gun as passionate as we are about being pro-gun. But then there's this big swath of people in the middle that we're all vying for. And we have to come up with strategies, because if we want to win elections, if we want to change culture, if we want to pass bills in legislatures around this nation, we need those people in the middle. And I'm asking you, how can we reach out to those people? What can we do? What is the best approach to this? What is our strategy? And that is what this poll question is about. So with all that said, let's dive right in to this week's poll question. I have been discussing and debating on my channels for a long time about the best ways to support the Second Amendment and be good ambassadors of the gun community and culture. While there are many ways we can do this and represent ourselves in the best possible light, I wanted to ask you about which way you think is the most effective, productive, and does the most good. So what is the best way to bring others into the Second Amendment community, make the gun culture a more positive place, and to be the best ambassador for our values? Now, one of the reasons I'm asking this question is because I'm trying to be intellectual about this discussion. I know that so many of you are very passionate about being pro-gun. You're out there typing frantically on every comment section of every video you possibly can. You might even have the shirts and go to the rallies, and you're getting in people's faces and yelling at them, "Shall not be infringed, the ATF can't create law," and you know the whole litany of things I always like to joke about people saying. But is that really doing anything to protect our freedom? Is just getting mad and angry and passionate really the best way of promoting our culture? You know, one of the people that I listen to a lot throughout the week for news and commentary is somebody named Tim Pool. He's in his late 30s, and he claims that he's kind of a middle-of-the-road, left-leaning libertarian. However, I have to say, most of his views, I think, are relatively conservative libertarian. And I really like how he tries to promote the Second Amendment and many other aspects through the lens of culture. He says in order to beat the left, in order to beat the radicals in our society, we have to change culture, because the left has been doing this for many years. They took over Hollywood, they took over the universities, and they have, of course, taken over what some people call the fourth branch of government, or the deep state, the administrative state. They are entrenched in all these places, and they have created this huge wall of opposition to anything that we consider to be patriotic, anything that we consider to be positive and pro-American. They are against it, especially in the world of firearms. And we have to figure out a way how to change this culture. And so that's why I was asking this question this week, because if you know anything about history, brute force doesn't always win battles. People seem to think if you just scream, "Shall not be infringed," as loud as possible, and say it louder than the people that want to take away your guns, that somehow you're going to win them over and you're going to win the battle. However, historically, we have examples of places like the Battle of Thermopylae, where a very small force of 300 Spartans held off a much, much larger army. You don't need the numbers, you just need the strategy. And I think that we are on the precipice of winning this culture war and turning the tides to a very pro-Second Amendment culture here in the United States. Yes, it's really good here as compared to many other places, but I'm talking about really turning the tides and really starting to pass true pro-gun legislation, both at the state and the national level. And I wanted to see what you guys thought was the best way to do this. So let's dive right into your results and see what you guys had to say. With 143 votes this week, we have financially support Pro-2A organizations like the GOA, FPC, and SAF, 20%. Bring new shooters to the range and expose them to firearms, 74%. Attend Pro-2A rallies and contact your representatives, 3%. Proclaim shall not be infringed everywhere on social media, 1%, and something else, explain in the comments, 3%. Now, I got to be very honest with you. Of course, we should have a multi-pronged approach when it comes to changing the culture here in the United States regarding the Second Amendment and bringing more people in. But these are just the ways that I think that we could be the most effective. Now, I was really happy to see that most people would have agreed with what I thought was the most important, which is to bring other people to the range. You want to plant those seeds that will hopefully germinate into fellow pro-Second Amendment advocates, because I will tell you that years and years and years ago, I was actually kind of scared of guns. I remember when my friend took me to the range for the very first time. I was honestly kind of anti-gun. I was scared. I only knew what the media had told me. And now look at me. I have a firearms YouTube channel. How in the world did that happen? Because somebody a long time ago, in fact his name was Jeff, he's no longer with us, but he planted that seed in my mind. He took me to the range. He let me shoot his Kimber 1911. And I was like, wow, this is not as scary as I thought. And here I am today because of him. So I know firsthand how important this is and how it changed my life, I definitely think for the better, and how this can be a domino effect, that I bring other people to the range and they'll bring more people to the range. And then eventually all those people in the middle, while they might not be as passionate as you or I are about the Second Amendment, they have knowledge, they have facts, they're no longer scared, and they can't be misled by the media, who are definitely anti-gun and want them to vote away their own rights. But let's go through each one of these and I'll give you guys my personal thoughts and opinions. We have financially support Pro-2A organizations like the GOA, FPC, and SAF. I definitely think this one is important. Even though I would have voted for the second one, I think that one is more important. When it comes to financially supporting these groups, I think it is paramount that we do so, because the anti-gunners are funded by multi-millionaires and multi-billionaires. The anti-gunners don't have to have a grassroots campaign because they have these huge mega donors. However, on the pro-gun side, we do. But that's the great thing about our numbers. If we all donate just a little bit, we can outpower and out-financially support the pro-gun groups, then the billionaires can outfund the anti-gun groups. We can beat them at their own game. We just have to do it in a bunch of small donations where they don't have to fundraise at all. They just have to have one big mega donor. And these are the people that are fighting the good fights in the courts. They're the unsung heroes of the Second Amendment. Most of us can't name these lawyers by name. Yeah, there's a few big ones that maybe you know, but I'm talking about the people that are truly winning these cases. They're in the trenches fighting the hard fight. They understand our legal system, and I'm sure glad that they're there. But trust me, they're expensive and they're worth every penny. If you've ever had to hire a lawyer, they're not cheap, but they're definitely worth it when you need them. Then, of course, we have bring new shooters to the range and expose them to firearms. And I am sure glad 74% of you agree this is the best way to change culture. And as I just mentioned, This is how I was brought into the Second Amendment. So I know firsthand how powerful this can be. And it is this domino effect that will just branch out further and further and further until eventually we have all the people in the middle who have been exposed to firearms in a positive way. They can't be manipulated by the anti-gun politicians, by the anti-gun media, by the people that want them to vote their rights away and to take away their rights. Because they're going to go, well, even though I don't really want to own a gun, I'm not really interested in going to the range, I have these friends that took me to the range. I realize it's not as scary as it seems, and they were very welcoming of me into their community. I don't want them to lose their rights. And all of a sudden, they're going to start voting in the pro-gun way. And that's how you win the culture war. Then we have attend Pro-2A rallies and contact your representatives. I definitely think this is important. You always got to make your voice heard. But let's just be honest. In today's world, your representatives represent 800,000 other people. When this nation was first founded, I want to say it was like 7,000 people per representative, which is a much more manageable number. I can't remember the political philosopher who talked about it, but he called it the politics of human scale. When it was 7,000 people to one representative, you actually could have some type of relationship or correspondence with your representative. But now it's 1 in 800,000. There's no way you can truly know your representative. It's almost impossible. And there's no way that they can adequately represent you or their constituency because we're so bifurcated. We're so diverse in our politics. And knowing how our system works today, let me ask you, have you ever heard of any politician that's changed their mind because their constituents wrote them? No. We hear stories all the time, especially on the Democrat side, where all their constituents are like, don't vote for this. And they're like, well, my party says to vote for this. I know better than you. And that's just the way our system works. I don't think your representatives will ever listen to you. Their minds are already made up. Then we have proclaim shall not be infringed everywhere on social media. And I think you guys know why I included this in the poll. Because so many people come to my channel whenever I talk about anything when it comes to the ATF. I get shall not be infringed. The ATF can't create law. As though that's going to do something. And they literally post it in every single video. It's like, good. But what's that actually doing? Is that going to reach out to some person that's currently in the middle or anti-gun and go, what? Shall not be infringed? I'm on board with this philosophy. No, you have to make your case. You have to do it in a thoughtful and intellectual way. That's how we win. Then, something else explained in the comments, and a lot of people were talking about other ways of doing it, like, for example, trying to run for office or trying to support people that are running for office that truly feel our way. And so I agree with that as well. I just feel like politics is downstream of culture, as Andrew Breitbart used to say. And if we can change culture by bringing people to the range, or at least exposing them to the gun community in a positive way, that's going to make a huge impact in the long run. But that's what I have to say about this. Now let's see what you guys had to say with the top-rated comments of the week. And with the top-rated comment of the week, we have Paul K003, who said, I personally try to extend invitation to people that I work with to go to the shooting range whenever I go, especially newer shooters who have not had that opportunity. I am shocked by the number of people who have guns and have shot them once and put them away, rarely seeing daylight again. I think reaching out to the new shooter is the way to go. People who are already in our community rarely turn away from it. The only way to grow is getting new blood. And you know, when it comes to politics, many people on the left are doing that when it comes to things like immigration. They want to bring in as many people as possible, make them citizens, because they can influence them and grow their numbers. We have to do the same in the pro-gun world. Then we have Chris Lang 5659, who said, I'm lucky enough to bring folks to the range through the magic of video. I've tried bringing folks for real. One completely missed the target and berm, and the other almost shot himself in the foot. Both said, I'm familiar with guns. It's really hard to be responsible for somebody else's life. Now, I don't know Chris's situation personally, but I will tell you, when I have brought new shooters to the range, I take their safety very, very seriously. Many times, I'll have them come over here to the house, and we're going to go over a whole safety procedure. I'm going to have a few guns that, of course, are empty. We're going to go over the basic mechanics of guns, the safeties. I'm going to have them hold them. I'm going to have them talk about the different rules of gun safety. We're going to go over it as much as possible. And then when we get to the range, it's going to be a very, very controlled situation. Only one person at the shooting table at a time. I'm going to be there. We're going to go over everything before any magazine is inserted into the firearm. And I will make sure that they know if there is any issue, keep that gun pointed down range. If you don't want to shoot anymore, just calmly put it on the table and back off. And I'm always right there next to them. And I have personally never had a problem. I've seen other people at the range have problems, but I am very methodical. Maybe it's just the teacher in me, but I always make sure everyone's safety is of the utmost importance. It's very paramount to everyone's safety and to the future of the Second Amendment. Then we have Teddy R-2147 who said, "My brother and his wife, who currently lives in New York, visited me here in Texas a few weeks ago. With all that's going on in New York, they wanted to experience shooting firearms. Took them to ETTS. They had such a good time, it's all they talk about now. Upon returning to New York, they immediately filed for the purchase permit and CCW. Unfortunately, they had to hire a firearm training services to conduct all the legal paperwork New York residents has to comply with. They're shocked and surprised at the hoops they now have to go through and can't believe with all these New York restrictions on firearms how it is that crime is still out of control. They now see that adding more restrictions only affects the rights of good citizens and does nothing to combat actual crime. They're now sharing photos of their range experience with other family members, which kind of creates a domino effect." Yes, that's it. And so this is another firsthand account of changing the hearts and minds of people. And hopefully those people will become disciples of the Second Amendment as well. I think in the Bible it's called the Great Commission, where Jesus tells the apostles and all of his followers to go out and spread the word throughout the world. I feel that we have a Great Commission in the firearms world to do the same. Not just go to the borders here of the U.S., but to go out to the world and hopefully one day change the cultures in many of these anti-gun places, because the right of self-defense, the right of self-preservation is a human right regardless of where you live. It is given to you by God or the universe and natural law, depending on what you believe. And I believe that is our Great Commission. Then we have Mr. King Arthur HK, who says, "The first two. One, support the people who support you. I am on a lengthy journey of updating my berm to train new shooters." And I agree with this. However, the poll was just kind of a rhetorical, hypothetical thing, so we try to figure out the most important. So I really wanted you just to choose one. And then finally, we have Derek 3154 who said, "Bringing in new shooters and strengthening the Second Amendment culture is the only way we will dig our way out of this for good." Absolutely. 100% agree. That is how we do it. If we change culture, we don't have to worry about the judiciary. We don't have to worry about legislators. We don't have to worry about politics. Because if the culture is strong and pro-2A, our politics will be pro-2A. Even the people that are kind of anti-gun, well, they're still going to have to be pro-A because they won't have a job in the legislatures. They can't run for office because so many people will be pro-2A if that is the culture that we create. And it's our Great Commission to be the best ambassadors that we possibly can. And I like to think I'm the best ambassador I possibly can be just having this YouTube channel. I do bring new shooters to the range, but I try to represent you and myself and our entire community in a positive light in the way that we can. I try to reach out to people. No, I'm not the greatest YouTuber, and not everyone's gonna like me, but hopefully somebody will find me and my channel, enjoy my content, and come to our side. And if just one person does that, I feel the great project of the Texas Gun Vault has been worth it. And my time here has been fruitful. So that is the Texas Gun Vault poll question of the week. I really appreciate your interactions with me and your results and your comments. And if you would like to participate in next week's poll, please go to the community tab of my YouTube channel. I always post a link also in the description and as a posted comment. Please go over there, see what the poll is about, comment, vote, and like other people's comments so we can get the top rated comment of the week. So let me know what you think is the best way that we can support the Pro-2A community and the culture and change it for the better for millennia to come. So, as always, thanks for watching.